Hello, welcome to our ELA lesson for today. We are going to be using the same strategy we talked about last time, the FQR strategy, which is where we write down facts, F, questions, Q, responses, R, things we learn from the text, questions that may pop up while we're reading, and responses that we have or connections we're making. Last time we read a nonfiction story about polar bears. But this time we're going to be reading a historical fiction book called Now Let Me Fly. Now, what is historical fiction? We know that historical, so it's based off of history. Fiction means it's not real. So the events and things that happen are true. It's history, it happened in the past, but the characters may not be real characters. They're based off of people that lived in that time. So, just a little bit of background. This book is about slavery. Now, this happened back in 1800s. Um, it's a pretty serious book and very sad. It's part of our history, and it's sad that people were treated this way and not right at all. I think it's important, though, that we read this so we can learn about those events. And while we read about it, I want us to make sure we're writing down some facts, questions we have, and responses. So you can go ahead and look at the screen. I've got the book right here in front of me that I'm going to read from. I will never forget the day I first wanted to fly. My name was Minna then. I lived in Africa. It was many years ago in 1815. But I can remember the day as if it were yesterday. My life was so happy then. That makes me think that maybe her life is not very happy anymore. That day, my mother and I were selling baskets and mats of straw at the marketplace. I became troubled when I saw a beautiful bird beating its wings against its wooden cage, trying to escape. You should be free, little bird, I whispered. I opened the cage door and watched as the bird spread its wings and flew away. I wished I could fly above the clouds with it. My mother didn't scold me, even though the man who owned the bird shouted and waved his fist angrily at me. She just pressed some of our baskets into the man's hands to quiet him, and then she said these words to me. You did the right thing, my daughter. No living thing should ever be confined. Later, as we crossed the savannah on our walk home, I heard the sound of drum beats. Mother, I said in anticipation, do you hear the drums? Will there be dancing tonight, or will there be old ones tell their stories? No, child. There is no joy in the sound of those drums, said my mother. Hurry, we must get home. When we arrived at our settlement, day had already dissolved into night. Many had gathered in a circle, their faces lit by the flickering campfire. The council of elders was meeting, presided over by my father, the chief. It seems a man from our compound named Dongo was on trial. I was not surprised, for this is not Dongo's first trial. My father challenged Dongo. It is said that you kidnapped some of our people and sold them as slaves. No one has ever seen you commit this outrage, but your past leads us to believe you are the only one among us who would harm us. Therefore, you are banished from the settlement, Dongo. Leave here and never come back, or your life will come to a quick and painful end. The two men led Dongo away.